So this is our first activity in the software program called GIMP. GIMP is a free or open source program that allows you to do some very cool graphics. And if you're watching this video at home with parent permission or guardian permission, you can download this program at no cost to you. So even if there's something you need to finish up from school. So the first activity we want to do is what I call the GIMP Stickperson, and this will allow you to learn some basic features in GIMP, utilize them to create a very simple graphic. Okay. Now the version that I have may be a tad bit different than the version you may download, as they constantly do upgrades, or the one that you have on your desktop if you're using a computer at school. But nevertheless, I'll try to help you locate the icons or the tools that you need to create the exact same graphic. Okay, so when you open up GIMP, it's going to be your desktop. Once you download, there should be an icon that looks very similar to this. Okay, so once you double click on it, it may take a while to open, but when it does open, you should see that there are several windows in GIMP, and you need all three of them to be able to effectively create your graphic. Okay, so the first window you need is the toolbox. In the toolbox window, they have all the tools you're going to use. If it's a pencil, a marker, when you want to change, we're going to use one of these to create our shadow and lay your shadow on the ground. Okay. You can choose brushes, and as I said, yours may look a little bit different because I think mine is an upgrade, so that's perfectly okay. I'll walk you through the things that are different. You have your main window, your canvas that you use to draw your graphic, and then on the right you'll see that I have what you call a layers dialog box. But if you don't have all three windows, what you can do is you'll see a file button either in your toolbox or in this window, the main window, and if you go to file and new, that typically will start up a couple of the windows. If you have all the windows except your layers dialog box, if you go to windows or dialogs and then dockable dialogs and then layers, then that window will also pop up here. Okay, so then you'll still have your layers, your toolbox, and your main canvas. So once all three windows are up, and again, remember you need all three, okay, to effectively do your assignment. You want to start by going to File and New, which is your first or second step. Step one was to open up the GIMP, and then you're going to choose a width and a height. So for this assignment, I'm going to tell you what to choose, and you're going to do a width of 200, and you're going to do a height of 250. Then click OK. Alright, so then there you have your canvas size. Notice now your layers dialog box, now you have a background. Okay, never ever draw on the background. Never ever ever draw on the background unless I've given you, or the assignment has given you permission to do so, or if you're skilled enough or become skilled enough to know what you're doing. But for this particular assignment, we're not going to draw on the background. However, we do want to start drawing. So you want to go to right click inside of that layers dialog box. So I'm inside of the box. Okay, I just right click and then I go to new layer, and then you'll notice a layer box pops up. This gives you the option to name your layer. We're going to choose the same width and height because it's like we're stacking on transparencies on top of each other. And we want them to be transparent so that we can see from one layer to the next, because we'll combine all the different components to make a new image. So we're going to name it whatever you want. I'm going to call mine Chris. You can give yours Bob, Renee, Samantha, John, doesn't matter. Then we're going to choose a pencil. Now your pencil tool looks completely different from mine. So here's the tool for it. But when you go to select what brush you want, yours is going to look very, very different than the one that I have. Okay, so you should be able to choose in your brush section. It should look like, I'll go here and show you a little bit. Yours is probably going to look a little bit more like this with different brushes, and you're going to choose the one, I think it says circle 13 or circle 7, but it's the second to the second smallest. Okay, so not the tiniest dot, but the second smallest dot. that you can choose from. I'm going to go over here and change my size to, I click here, click my dot, and I'm going to change mine to 13. Okay. Or I could choose 7, doesn't matter. This just shows you what your pencil size is going to be. So once you've chosen it, then you want to go into your canvas. Remember, you should make sure that you're drawing on the layer with the name, not the background. And you know this because see how the blue shows up on each one? Okay, so the blue is on Chris. And then I don't grade this based on your graphic artist ability, because I'm not a great drawer or artist myself. However, I do expect that you will do a pretty good job. So if you need to start over and erase, here's your eraser. Okay, so let's say if I click on pencil and I don't draw this is what I want to, I can click erase and erase what I have. Okay, so you want to do the very best that you can. And I'm going to change this to, okay, it's at 7. So I'm going to use my pencil and draw my stick person. You can add clothes or a hat or whatever you want. So here's my stick person. Okay, and continue to draw. Now if you want a straight line, you can hit shift and then move your pencil to where you want the drawing to show up, and that allows you to do straight lines. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to give my stick person eyes, a nose, and a mouth. So now, so far, we've drawn a stick person. Now, one thing I tell students is to always save your work. Simply because anything can happen. You get up and you leave, the bell rings, or power outage, and now you have to start all the way over. So let's just go to File, Save As. Inside of yours should be your network drive, and since I'm doing this from home, you won't see my network drive here, but you'll be able to choose your network drive or your folder by going back, okay, and so forth and so on. I'm just going to save mine on my desktop, okay, and I'm going to give it a name, and you're going to keep the extension as .xcf. That's a GIMP file. It means you have a project that has not been finalized, and since we're not done with our stick person, I'm just going to name it and leave it with the .xcf. Then hit save. In this next part, we're going to add complexion. So I've already done mine, but I'm going to delete this so I can show you exactly how I got to the complexion layer. So again, you would right click inside of the layer dialog box once again, go to new layer. Remember, you're going to keep all the other attributes the same, width, height, transparency, and you're going to give this layer the name complexion, because now we're actually going to color everything that we've drawn. So click, once you've given the name complexion, click OK. And notice the complexion just adds a third layer to the top, right? Now, there are several ways you can go about drawing, right? So what you don't want to do is just choose a color and then choose the paint bucket if you ever use graphics for it, and then just click, because that's what's going to happen. Alright, so you actually have to select the portion that you want to color. I want to color my stick person's face, but let's say if I had, and I'll just add another aspect to my graphic so I can have multiple things to color. I guess Chris is going to be short for Christine. Alright, so now I have my drawing here. Now I want to color my drawing. So I'm going to use, the best way to do it is the intelligent scissors. And the reason why, or the scissors select tool is what it's called. But the reason why I like to use this is because it's the shortest way to do it. Okay, and the most accurate. So what you do is you select the tool, and then we're going to click right on or outline our part of the graphic that we want to be colored. Alright, so I'm going to go all the way around, and notice where I started, okay, because that's going to be important. I'm going to move this a little bit. Alright, now I'm almost there. Notice that I don't have to be perfect, but I do want it to be accurate. So I'm going to stay within my outline. And see this last dot I put? The last and the first dot have to connect. So after I put the last dot, I have to click again on the first one to connect them. And that's important because I'm going to click in the middle of that. And that's how I'm going to get this outline or selection tool all the way around here. Alright? So now I know that this is what I'm going to format. No matter what I do, it's just this selection. So now I'm going to click here on the foreground color, and my color palette is going to be accessed by clicking the foreground color. And then I choose the color that I want. Now, I can't just do this, because see how that doesn't do anything here? This shows you my old color. This is my current. So in order to get my new color, I need to move. Okay, and I want a new color to show here. So once I have the color I want, I'm going to click OK. Actually, I'm going to use yellow for her here. And just play around with it. If you're not great at it yet, it's okay. It's a trial and error thing. Alright, and then click OK. And now this color replaces black. So then I choose my paint bucket. I click, and then the color shows up. Alright, now I can go to select and none, and then it doesn't select that anymore. But now I need to color her face. So I do the same thing, select the scissors, and I'm going to go around and color and outline her face. Okay, now this is your graphic. The colors don't have to make sense to anybody but you. And again, remember the last dot and the first dot have to connect. So when I click in the center, it outlines. Alright? So then I choose the color. Again, I'm going to choose one I already had. Click OK. That replaces the yellow. Choose my paint bucket, and then I click on the inside, and I have that. Now what's the issue here? The first thing everybody's going to say, or you're going to say, is, Miss Smith, it covered up my drawing. That's fine. Look at the order of your layers. It's saying that the color should be on top of your drawing. So what you need to do is click on the layer that says complexion and drag it underneath the Stickperson's drawing. So once I drag my layer underneath the first layer, underneath the second layer, then now you can see all the drawings again. And remember, it's important to go to select and none so that you can start from scratch with the next thing you're going to do. Okay, so I have my Stickperson, a complexion, and a background. Okay, those are the three layers I have. Now what I need to do is duplicate this layer and this layer in order to preserve my originals. So if I make a mistake, I always have my originals. So I'm going to right click on the Chris layer, or the layer of the person you created. It doesn't matter what you named them. Right click, and you're going to go to duplicate layer. Okay, then you're going to click on complexion. Right click, duplicate layer. So now you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 layers. Okay, Chris copy, Chris, or whatever your sick person's name is, complexion copy, complexion, and background. I want you to turn off all of the originals that you have, and by turning them off, that means they're not visible. Okay, and how do you know they're visible? Because the eye is showing next to each layer. How do I know if it's not visible? Well, I'm going to turn off the background and notice that the eye is no longer visible. Okay, you're going to turn off the complexion original, and you can turn off the Chris original or your sick person original. So now I should only have 2 visible layers. That's your sick person copy and complexion copy. Now we're going to go to right click, and we're going to merge those 2 visible layers. So we're going to go to merge visible layers, and then you'll see a box that pops up. Keep everything the same, and let's just click merge. Now we went from 5 to 4 because it combined those 2 visible layers into one. Okay, I'm going to right click inside of that layer, and I'm going to go to edit layer attributes, and we're going to call it whatever your sick person's name is, complexion, or with complexion. So mine is Chris with complexion. Then you click OK. Alright, Now, the only layer that I'm going to continue to make visible is the background. So we're going to click, and now we have the background and your Chris with complexion, or your Stickperson with complexion. You want to click, stay on the layer with complexion. Remember I told you, you know it's the right layer because the blue is on that layer. I'm going to right click and duplicate that layer. Okay, so there should be a copy now. Now it should say complexion copy. We're going to rename this by right clicking, edit attributes, and we're going to call it shadow. Okay, and click OK. Alright, now to add the shadow, what you want to do is make sure that you lock your layer. Okay, you're going to lock it by clicking on this checker. Okay, change this back to black by clicking here, choosing black, click OK, and you're going to choose a paintbrush. Alright, now it doesn't matter what size you choose, but just know that the fatter you have it, the quicker you can do it. Okay, alright, now what I'm going to do is when you lock it, so you know it's locked because it'll have a little darkened box around it. Okay, and you know it's not locked because when you color, it's going to go outside of the lines. So how you know it's locked? How you know it's locked? It stays inside. Okay, and you want to click everything, even though it doesn't look like you're making a shadow. You are the entire body. Alright, so we'll have a shadow of everything. Now you should look at your layer box and notice that there's a shadow right here where it looked just like the complexion. Now it's black all over that. So now we're going to unlock it. Okay, and by clicking once on that same icon, and now we're going to add a special effect to it. We're going to blur the shadow. So you're going to go to Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur, okay, and keep the default, and if you want it to be a little more blurry, you can just move the arrows up. Okay, then click OK, and notice there's a blur. But what's the whole purpose of that? Because now you can't see your Stickperson. So what you should be able to do is, again, drag the shadow layer underneath the complexion layer. Okay, so now that I've dragged that layer underneath, I have a little shadow, okay, all behind, well, what it looks like, I'm sorry, undo that. What it looks like is, I'm going to click something else so I won't click on anything. It looks like a little blur or halo all around, okay? So, but that's not the way shadows appear. Shadows are usually at an angle or on the ground. So, to get my shadow on the ground, I'm going to choose this tool that looks like a skateboard ramp. It's called the perspective tool. So you want to click on this, okay? And what you want to picture yourself doing is pushing the backdrop, and make sure again you're on the shadow layer. You want to push the backdrop on the ground. So you push down, and you can move this out of the way if you don't want it there. Push both sides down, and you can even angle it whatever way you want. Okay, push it as far down as you want, and then click. Once you have it exactly where you want it, just move mine a little bit, and again play around with it. I'm going to switch mine around. Okay, then click transform, and then you have a shadow on the ground. Alright, now after you've done this, then obviously you're done. So congratulations, you finished your Stickperson. So now you want to save it. It's no longer a project. You want to make it a final graphic. Okay, so I want you to go to File and Save As, and you can save it again on your network drive. Again, I'm going to do mine on my desktop. And what you want yours to be is not have a .xcf. Let's just save it as a JPEG or a bitmap. Okay, so you would do your Stickperson dot, and let's do a GIF. Let's do a GIF. That's best. GIF, and then save. I have a new one. For most of you, you'll be able to do it this way. Mine's going to require that I export. So I'm going to export and edit my extension there for me. Just click export. But most of you should be able to go to the file, save as, .png, .gif, .bitmap, add that to it in the end, and then click export. Alright, and now if I minimize this just to double check, this is my graphic, and if I double click on it, it should pull up as a graphic now. So then you've finished your first graphic editing program, and I hope that you're able to use GIMP to do a few of the other tutorials on your own.